Over the last few weeks and even months, maybe at this point, we've spent a lot of time on this channel thinking about the upcoming Google Pixel Fold, and it is apparent to me that as the entire tech world does this, Samsung is doing the same thing. They've got the Pixel Fold on their mind as well. And the reason I'm saying this is because new reports coming out of Sam Mobile, link in the description, are stating that the upcoming Samsung Unpacked event, which typically occurs in August, might be being moved up to the end of July. Of course, we also have those rumors that the Pixel Fold is going to be fully unveiled May the 10th and then released sometime in the middle of June. So it appears as though Samsung is moving up their Z Fold 5 event, Z Flip 5 event. More stuff obviously coming at that event. A couple of weeks to get it closer to that Pixel Fold launch. The longer the Pixel Fold is on the market, not necessarily with no competition, because devices like the Z Fold 4 obviously still do exist and are there to be purchased. But Samsung's definitely going to want their best, newest device going head-to-head with that Pixel Fold as quickly as possible. And again, that is the report. They're moving this up more than likely for that exact reason. Now, like I said, that event is going to have a couple of different devices there. We have seen renders, which we believe to be quite accurate, of what the Galaxy Z Flip 5 is meant to look like. We're going to get a very, very large upgrade to that cover display, as you can see here on the screen. We're also getting a redesign of the hinge mechanism, which will allow this device to fold fully flat, reduce the appearance of the crease, as well as that obvious upgrade to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. As far as the Z Fold, though, the upgrades are similar, but maybe a little bit less noticeable. In fact, we just got this tweeted by Ice Universe, notable tech leaker in particular of Samsung products, going over a lot of the dimensions of the upcoming Z Fold 5. Now, I have tweeted this myself with some of the stuff that wasn't translated, and we can go over it here. This is where a lot of the differences between the 4 and the 5 are going to be found. So there is a reduction in the length of the device, 0.2 millimeters, a reduction of width, again, by 0.2 millimeters. The thickness of the device, we're talking about when it's opened, right? Like each individual half, again, 0.2 millimeters. Now the closed width, so when it's in phone mode, the width across is going to be exactly the same. But again, 0.2 millimeters shorter is another way to look at it. Now this is the big one though. Closing thickness is going to be going down by 0.8 millimeters up to 2.4 millimeters. Now what they're meaning here is that when this device is closed, there is currently a gap that gets smaller. When you get to the hinge, it's bigger. To the other side, it gets smaller. On the Z Fold 5, that gap is going to be effectively completely erased, which is why you're seeing that 0.8 up to 2.4 millimeters. This device will be folding flat. There's also a reduction in weight by 9 grams, which is not a huge amount, but it will make it feel much more comfortable in your pocket, in particular when combined with the fact that in phone mode, it's going to be folding flat. 2.4 millimeters in thickness reduced at the hinge is fairly significant. Now, just like I mentioned with the Z Flip 5, that new hinge that's going to allow the device to fold flat will also allow the crease to be far less noticeable. Now, we've not seen any photos to, what degree that's going to be true, but those are the rumors. I do also want to show you another tweet from Ice Universe here, which is actually quite comical. Which do you prefer, Z Fold 4 or Z Fold 5? And you could look at these and you'd say, what do you mean? They look exactly identical. And he says down here, the difference is 0.2 millimeters shorter. So in this photo, you can kind of tell not a huge difference from that angle. Again, the biggest differences you're going to see is with the fact that it's folding flat and the crease should be less visible. I've got a photo here of what the crease looks like now. It's quite deep on the current Z Fold devices because of how the hinge folds the screen at a much tighter radius. Might be a good way to describe it. The newer hinge is going to be more of a teardrop shape, which will allow when it's open to be pulled more taut and to be less visible, as we've seen on other folding devices. Some other things that we feel like we're pretty confident about here. I tweeted yesterday, this was via My Fix Guide, a filing which indicates, there's a lot here on the screen, but basically both the Flip and the Fold 5 topping out at 11 volts by 2.25 amps, which would be about 25 watt charging. So the charging speed is not going to be changing. If you're hoping for that S23 Ultra charging speed on your Z Fold 5, that does not appear to be coming. So then we're kind of left with this question, right? With these Flips and these Folds, what we're getting is the upgrade to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which is a big deal. No gap when folding, and a less visible crease. With the Flip, we're getting a much larger cover display. So I think the Flip is pretty clearly less iterative than the Fold because of this. But the Fold, that's pretty much all we're getting. So that's the question. Is this iteration? Is this innovation? How big of a difference is this going to make? Personally, I think that this is going to be a fairly substantial upgrade. The folding flat, less of a crease, and that Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, let's not underestimate that, because we all thought the S22 Ultra to the 23 was going to be a very marginal upgrade. And it turned out that system on a chip is just really, really good. Could we see as big of a jump in battery life on the Fold as we did with the S23 Ultra? That would make this a pretty big upgrade, all things considered. But I'd love to know your guys' opinions in the comments down below. Let's talk it out. Which foldable device are you most interested in right now? Let me know. Subscribe so you don't miss out on more content just like this. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.